What is up, guys? NYKia31 here, Madden 16, and here it is. Game's been out, a week and a half, almost 2 weeks now, and I got plenty of sample size in, both playing these CPU games and playing online ranked and draft champions, mostly draft champions. Great mode. And, you know, now it is time to do a full-blown review of the game using this Packers-Seahawks matchup on All Madden as the backdrop. Decided to play this game or play this matchup because someone in the Twitter sphere mentioned some trouble with play action passing with the Seahawks, so I figured I'd give it a whirl. I'm playing on All Madden, Madden Difficulty level. That's going to give us as much CPU interference as the game will give, and plus it's the difficulty that's most like playing a user. So there you go. Now, as far as the Seahawks, not the greatest pass blockers on their offensive line in the world. I think that may have been the root of the play action passing tribbles for them. But we'll see how we do. Going up against A-Raj and the Pack. So, as far as the overall review of the game, let's first start out with the two biggest issues. Issue number one. Now, it's all well and good that we live in this era of patches and updates that can be done through these consoles online. We've been in this era for quite some time now. It's nothing new, but as much of a blessing as that can be, as far as being able to update games, update content, fix flaws in games, what has ended up happening is we get unfinished games. And it's really irritating. You basically have three modes. Well, really two modes, because Draft Champions and MUT are basically online game mode. So you have online gameplay with MUT, online ranked, and Draft Champions. And you have CFM, both online and offline. And unfortunately, CFM is unplayable. Now, in this YouTube football sim gaming community, the words broken and unplayable are among the most frequently used words that you'll find when it comes to whining, gripes, complaining, and all that good stuff. But in this case, the mode is broken. And, a patch is in the works to fix the mode, as well as some other issues that need to be patched. And that's a shame, because as much fun as Draft Champions is, I've had a great time playing it. I've played it a ton already, and as neat as it is playing these random CPU matchups, I kind of want to get that going. Want to get going with the online leagues, want to get my Redeem RG3 series going. Want to get that stuff cooking. There's only so many Draft Champion games I can play, and there's only so many of these games that I can play before I get antsy. So, come on, get the patch here. And, it's really an industry-wide thing. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I don't think anything nefarious is going on. I don't think EA plotted to release the game incomplete with CFM broken as a ploy to draw people to Draft Champions, to draw the sim community into Draft Champions, and therefore draw more people into MUT. That doesn't fly to me. I'm sorry. EA does not need help from us. When I say us, I mean the YouTube football gaming sim community to push MUT, to draw people to MUT. MUT draws so much revenue that it pretty much has kept the NBA Live series afloat until it can stand on its own 2 feet. Think about that for a second. It's a genius business model, Ultimate Team, and That business model has been copied now by pretty much every sports game that's out there. PES, FIFA, MLB The Show, NBA 2K, NBA Live, they all have a form of Ultimate Team revolving around the same type of structure. So when you eliminate the conspiracy theories, the most logical explanation is almost always the correct one, and that is simply the fact that these games come out way too soon, and developers are pressed to get as much content as they can get in by a specific deadline, and if they can't get it in, they just say, okay, we'll patch it in a couple of weeks. We saw that with NBA 2K, where most of the game modes were pretty much unplayable upon release. We saw that at NBA Live, where the real-time synergy updates weren't working properly for the first couple of weeks. MLB The Show and their annual server fiascos. It goes on and on and on and on. Now, issue number 2, aggressive catching. From day one, I have not had much of a problem with this. I have not been getting burned by it. I've got plenty of gameplay already uploaded showing this. Those of you who've watched me stream Draft Champions can attest to that as well. I uploaded dang near 40 minutes of one-on-one streak tests using my Jets versus the Detroit Lions, and experimenting with how the interactions were playing out and the mechanics. And I understood what corners I could match up one-on-one on an island on a consistent basis versus what receivers, which ones I had to bracket and use coverage audibles to create combination coverages, and use the play a wide receiver versus play ball mechanic as needed to break up these passes one-on-one to these freak receivers of the world. But enough people had a problem with it that EA decided to tune the aggressive catch, and hopefully that has somewhat satisfied those that were having difficulty with dealing with that mechanic. Personally, I've had very little trouble with it, both pre-tuning and in its current state. I'll tell you what I've found much more difficult than an aggressive catch, and that is dealing with 4 verts out of trips and quads. That has been a headache, and I've come up with ways to deal with that, which I will upload as well. But that, I think, is a much more significant problem than dealing with some fool who wants to do aggressive lob catch streaks. Those guys are easy W's. Those guys will get hammered 99 times out of 100. But the 4 verts out of trips and quads, that is an issue. And the reason why it's an issue is not so much the outside. The outside is fine. Really, the deep safeties are fine. The problem is the slots, the seams. What's happening is that those seams are not being redirected, and they're not being carried to a depth where the safeties can constrict the space between the slot defender and the receiver and them. So the safeties end up having a ton of grass to account for. So it really takes a combination of calling your base play, making some pre-snap coverage adjustments, and secondary and linebacker adjustments, which you see me do frequently in this game. In every game that I play, I use coverage adjustments virtually every dang play to get the shading that I want, to get the zone, hook, and curl flat depth that I want, spotlighting. I use it all. And I consistently put together a pretty mean pass defense. So I got to be doing something right. I have the same game as everybody else does, but, I understand coverage concepts very well. I understand pass concepts very well. That's been my lifelong area of football expertise, if you will. And I've gotten very good over the years at applying that, to the video game world. And really, folks, that is where this game is headed. If you were a guy who in Madden 15 was relying on the corner being able to defend the sideline and zoom to pick off the pass down the seam, you're in for a torching. Period. Now, of course, you have to be able to play some single high, either out of cover three or cover one. The way the NFL is right now, with the preponderance of the spread influence in the league, you have to be able to do it. Under normal circumstances, in a two deep shell, you have your front seven trying to play eight gaps. So you're naturally outnumbered, which is where your two gap, 350-pound man mountain defensive lineman comes in. Or if you play a one gap scheme, you have quicker, more athletic players who you're hoping that can diagnose, get downhill, blow up runs before they get started. But right off the bat, you're outnumbered, and if you're playing a zone read team, you're down an additional man. Being able to play single high allows you to even those odds and still maintain middle of the field coverage and coverage outside. The NFL is becoming more and more of a single high and quarters coverage league for this very reason. But what do you do, or how do you play single high if the guys that you have covering the outside aren't as good as the guys who are running routes? Unless you have one of the half dozen really elite guys, or you're up against an opponent that week who you match up well with, you gotta do what the rest of the world does. You gotta mix and match it and pick your spots. And this is what this game gives you, and it is a beautiful thing. Is it perfect? No. DJ81 has done a lot of work on Twitter talking about this. There are too many guys who can do these spec catches. By DJ81's count, shout out to him, he counted 40 guys with spec catch ratings 90 and above. That's about 35 too many. Everyone has a spec catch rating, whether it's 50 or 100. So they're all going to be able to try and attempt these catches. It's just a matter of their success rate. But if there's 40 guys with 90 spec catch or above, how many guys are there in that 80 to 85, 85 to 90 range? At least double that. That's way too many. But you can deal with it. You just gotta pay attention, use your head, and learn what the heck you're doing. That 5'10 corner, he's not out jumping a 6'3, 6'4 receiver for the ball. It's not going to happen. The receiver defender action is the best we've seen in a game, hands down, in my opinion. The transition to it has to be tidied up some. You'll see instances where there's a little bit too much airspace between the receiver and the defender, and the receiver, defender, and the ball, and you'll see shifting in order to get that interaction started. That has to be cleaned up. But the biggest thing is that the amount of people that can participate in these interactions seems to be, at least in my observation, limited to three at the most. The receiver, the primary guy who's either covering him man to man or in his zone, and a help defender. Outside of that, everyone else is just a spectator who can't join into the fun until that interaction, that sequence is finished. I discovered this while talking to some guys on Twitter, and also after that trying it for myself, where I would, as a user control defender, make a beeline to a receiver, and if a couple of guys were already there, say a corner and a safety, I couldn't do anything. I could not join the interaction. There was like a force field around me, and I could not do anything until after their sequence played out. Once it was done, then I could either make a play on the ball or hit the receiver. That's not good. I want it to be a free-flowing sequence at all times. That's the next level for this. The passing mechanics, excellent. Took me a little while to get used to them. The touch passes are really nice. Being able to just kind of feather and drop that ball in between defenders is a beautiful thing. When you combine the modifiers along with the stick, there's not a single throw that you can't make. There's not a single route that you can't throw. I would put it right up there with APS, maximum passing, but I have to dock it because of what they did to my pump faking. I love my pump faking, as you guys know, and they took away my ability to pump fake to a individual receiver. It's now a generic pump fake with the click of the less stick. There's gotta be a better solution than that, EA. Come on. I pump fake a lot, and not having control over what defender I want to try to manipulate based off of what receiver I want to pump fake to, I don't like that at all. You gave me this great ball placement ability, but you robbed me of my ability to target a defender and now have to kind of globally look to see who's being moved by the pump fake. I am not a big fan of that at all. Running the ball, and I feel like this is where the slower speeds of the players really comes into play in a positive way. It makes picking out seams and holes much easier in the run game. And when you combine that with the run game being blocked better and cleaner and less physics catastrophes in the blocking, you have a balanced running game again. You guys who like to play under center, you have your under center run game back. You can run your tosses, you can run your stretches, your powers, your counters. You have a much easier or cleaner path to navigate. Again, not perfect, but much better than 15 was as far as that's concerned. And on the flip side, on defense, counters and traps are defended much more reasonably. Not ideally. I mean, I would ideally like to have linebackers have designated gap assignments and really attack the gaps and spill the counter, but the ends and the outside backers, they're doing a much better job of reducing the edge as opposed to just standing there waiting to get kicked out. And the 0-1 trap, defensive lineman will try to cross the face and blow that sucker up. Linebackers are quicker to recognize it. Basically, defensive linemen that are good run defenders, they're going to get into the backfield. If you got the personnel, you can control the running game without having to sell out. If you don't, you're going to have to show 8 in the box. If that doesn't work, you're going to have to run blitz and take some chances. Welcome to the real world. That's football. If you go up against the Dallas Cowboys and you don't have a strong front seven, you're going to have to roll 8 in the box, hold your breath against Dez. That's life. So yeah, I'm really excited as to where this game has come and where it's headed. Rex and Clint should never be allowed to leave the EA building. They should be chained in, locked in, and barred from ever exiting. I mean, they've done a really nice job, really good at interacting with us all, and I really appreciate what they're bringing to the table with this game. For someone who's a X's and O's guy like myself, it's very noticeable and very fun to play. Gotta clean up some glitches like the offsides glitch, and there's still player movement wonkiness to clean up. As the interactions get better, the more they stand out. Like when all this beautiful wide receiver DB stuff is playing out, when something wonks out with a player, it really sticks out like a big red rubber nose. So there you go, folks. Those are my impressions of the game. I'm really enjoying it. Lots of people are enjoying it. I really like what I see and what I'm playing overall. And, you know, if you don't like the game, that's allowed. There's a lot of sports games coming out very, very soon that can provide you with enjoyment. If that's not enough for you, you can spend the next 11 months arguing about EA Sports over the internet every single day. I don't know how you guys do that. I'll log on to Twitter and I will see a couple of dudes arguing over Madden videos for 4, 5, 6, 7 hours in a day. But what can you do? Hope you guys enjoyed. Talk to you all later. Peace.